Have you been to seek out searching for trying to find love altogether the incorrect places and in too many faces, only to find more pain and despair? Then it's time to seek out the reality regarding your look for true love. You don't get to engage in an endless look for Mr. or Mrs. Right, nor does one settle or compromise for any Mr. or Mrs. Right now. If you continue to search for Mr. or Mrs. Right, you'll inevitably lose yourself trying to please others who can never really be pleased. When you engage in trying to satisfy the unappeasable, you're doing nothing, quite giving them the facility to regulate your life. Of course, the powerful one is that the subtle redeemer of all of your good deeds, and may effortlessly play the sport all day long every day. It's far more important to empower yourself by knowing where your love really exists than it's to be drained of your energy or still feel betrayed and end up abandoned by continually giving to someone who isn't giving back to you. Instead of surviving within the lack of affection where you discover yourself alone, you switch your precious love and a spotlight towards the one that most deserves it, you. So that you'll become very consciously conscious of any inner healing that's necessary to occur within you that has caused you to take a position such a lot of yourself without any returns. True love is that the remembrance and moment-to-moment application and expression of self-love. This honors the value of you, your divine magnificence. You will want to attend to you to make certain you eliminate anything inside you that's causing you to draw in those outer relationships that are but honorable, respectful, and loving. Your healing can occur quickly, as once you are engaged in listening to the true love of self, your heart opens and is willing to receive. The difficulty for many in accepting and acknowledging their own true love is thanks to the painful experiences from past lives and therefore the past during this life. These experiences are encoded on a cellular level within you. You fear to be fully open together with your freedom of expression of self on all levels, not just thanks to the old painful experiences, but at the important causal level originating from once you first chose to lower your vibration to digress into the matter, human form once you subscribed to incorrectly believing your undeserving true love. When you incarnate, you came in with a veil of forgetfulness. You are not aware of this veil, and thusly, you sense a separation from your source, God, Goddess. In human form you've got an ego, or a lower mental mind. This lower mental mind doesn't have the capacity of understanding just like the universal higher mind does. The lower mind attempts to calculate and figure everything out instead of simply connecting to the inner feelings of affection. The lower mind attempting to figure out the sensation of separation reasons that you must have done something wrong, and your abandonment as a direct punishment for your incorrectly perceived crime. The ego doesn't remember that your soul made the selection to easily experience incarnation for the very purpose of realizing the like it truly is. Thusly, it calculates if you have done wrong you must be penalized for your wrongdoing in some manner. You engage in one life experience after another punishing self in one form or another for doing nothing, quite choosing life on earth. These self-abusing experiences accumulate and compound as you continue to cycle through this incorrect belief of wrongdoing punishable by whatever. What you are really unconsciously doing is creating one opportunity after another to be able to see the higher truth of being your own true love. Unfortunately, you as well as many have been stuck in this unhealthy behavior for eons. The self-punishment does have a bright side. As a result of your multiple painful experiences, you'll realize the greater truth that states you've done no wrong, the truth that states you'll do no wrong because you're and have always been love. Love that is creating many experiences to realize it is love personified. The time is now, as this is the golden age of heaven on earth, where all will come to realize the truth of the true love of self. You need not await anyone else to shift your incorrect beliefs into divine knowingness, nor does one got to fear them anymore. Those who are still not ready to fully awaken to the reality won't be able to get anywhere near you once you select love. When you are connected to your true love, you'll not encounter these souls, as you've got within the past, who are choosing to measure during a lower vibration and are stuck in treating others badly because they don't value themselves, to begin with. You need not fear to be vulnerable and walking with an open heart, as those that haven't yet learned to like themselves simply won't cross your path. The energy of affection may be a far greater frequency and zip vibrating from fear is going to be ready to get anywhere near you. Love cannot encounter fear, and people players who are stuck in fear are going to be on different grounds where they're going to still have the required but loving experiences, so they can come to an equivalent realization of remembering they were never lacking love and wish not to steal it from another. When you incorrectly believe you're lacking love, you seek outside of yourself, another person, place, or thing which will fulfill and satisfy this sense of lacking. You continue to pursue others one after the other in search of the love you are not willing to give yourself. Sometimes you may play the role of the victim by giving and never receiving equally in return, or you might take on the opposing role of the abuser, where you constantly take without ever being satisfied. When you play the victim, you give anyone and/or everyone the credits for your feel-goods, and you also project the blame for your feel-bads. When you are the abuser, you merely blame everyone for everything, therefore righteously licensing your terrible treatment of others. The ego is insatiable because it thrives on the sense of lack. Lack is what fuels its fires, and thusly you give the power to the ego of self, in your endless search of another to satisfy the very love of which you already are. Until you're willing, as you've got always been able, to remain and master the ego and its control over you and your life by realizing you're liable for all the alternatives you've got made, you'll never come to understand and sleep in the bliss of true love. Your true love is you. It doesn't exist outside of you. The one that exists outside of you is understood more commonly as the conscious life partner or twin flame. Although you'll never enjoy the advantages of this whole relationship either until you realize your wholeness lies within. How could you expect an entire individual to desire to measure with and stand by the side of one who believes they're half an individual or lesser than? It simply cannot occur because the vibratory rates are completely different. The whole individual is vibrating with a frequency of abundance of affection of self and thus lacks nothing. This individual needs nobody, albeit they'll prefer to share their life with another. The half individual perceives they're in lack and thus is usually needy. The half person lives in fear and therefore the whole person lives crazy. As stated above, love and fear simply cannot encounter each other. You have already experienced the type of relationship when two fearful low-vibrating individuals get together. These two are like separate halves attempting to form an entire. They'll be very attracted initially because they're both trying to find an equivalent thing, someone to form the whole. Eventually they're going to unconsciously battle over control of the entire. Often with each half switching roles, flipping back and forth from the powerful controlling one to the submissive one. When you incorrectly believe that you simply lack something, then engage in attempts to satisfy yourself outside of yourself, you'll experience being surrounded by many that seem to not want to offer you the time of day. They dismiss your opinion as to if it's worthless and that they don't return the love you would like to offer or have given to them. Anyone who believes they're not fulfilled without the opposite half is holding a lower vibration and can't realize true love until they heal their incorrect beliefs about being but loved, but loving, but lovable and fewer than loved. Opposing energies cannot meet and stick together for an extended period of your time unless one or both change to vibrate at an equivalent rate of frequency. The upper vibrational person will never encounter the lower vibrational individual unless they're participating in their lives for the aim of healing. Intrinsically the connection is merely temporary unless the lower vibratory person raises its frequency to like and/or the upper vibratory person lowers its frequency to fear. You will not realize and walk side by side thereupon life partner or twin flame and/or peers until you're whole yourself. All people who encounter your path are always a mirrored image of self. They're messengers to radiate back to you who you're in any given moment. You'll always be surrounded by people who represent who you currently are, who you were within the recent past, and who you're becoming within the near future, as you awaken to the true love of self. Understanding the mirror those around you reflecting back to you for your greater good and immediate benefit allows you to disengage yourself from another aspect of the lower mental mind referred to as judgment. If you're disturbed by someone, think of them and see what's in within self that's so annoying because you select to not be willing to ascertain that the behavior of the individual is either something you're presently doing yourself, something you've got wiped out the past, or something you're scared of doing within the future. The judgment also works the opposite way. Once you end up enamored by someone, it's important for you to know what you're keen on about them is that the same that's within you also. You only don't see it as clearly once you are looking directly at yourself. Once you release judgment of self within the understanding that you simply are your own true love, you'll easily relinquish the debilitating judgment of others also. In order to completely realize your true love, you want to apply self-love, meaning do for self what you so willingly do for therefore many others. Give to self what you've got been expecting or demanding others to offer to you. Lovingly place yourself at the top of the road, rather within the rear where there's not left for you. Place yourself not at the top of the banquet table, but rather during a seat at the round table of worthiness for all, as against crawling at the feet of others scrounging for the leftovers or the crumbs that fall at their feet. You are a queen or king, a goddess or god because you're the personification of the love of the upper union that exists within you, and you deserve the simplest of everything, not just the simplest of a couple of things, or in some cases nothing good in the least. Use a number of your money to get something for yourself, albeit it's determined useless or frivolous by your logical mind or others. If you do not engage within the heart's desires, profound and/or silly, you'll surely need to spend an equivalent amount of cash or more on something else you weren't expecting. Or you may end up during a position to spend an equivalent amount or more by surrendering it to a physician to assist you to heal the body that's reflecting back to you, via some disease or uncomfortable pain, your incorrect beliefs of not being loved, loving, loved or lovable. You may become angry or resentful because you give and aren't given to reciprocally, and thusly your body will abscess with poison that's being oppressed within and is seeking an avenue of the outlet. Or your heart is going to be in pain and you'll have what's called a heart attack. No, the guts don't attack, it's reacting in defense of being ignored by you. Apply self-love by living your life knowing its value and price. Life is precious, and precious few up so far have fully understood the gift of breath. Most of you permit others to measure your life for you because you're in fear of loss of affection, attention, safety, or another sort of support. The true love of you is independent and whole, it knows no lack and doesn't seek anything or anyone outside of self because it's always giving to self. It listens to the guts and follows the direction of what causes you to happy. True love lives within a thriving, joyful heart, not a fearful, lacking mind. Who cares if others call you a silly heart or a Pollyanna? Remember, misery loves company because it lacks the courage to exit above or beyond the gang or tribe. Misery is ego-based, it'll very boldly or subtly manipulate to urge you to hitch it. Your own inner true love is ready to rescue the guts of you, it'll whisk you away on a shining white horse of the spirit of courage. You'll gain courage in being your own true love by going with what's right for you, instead of giving your power away to a different out of fearful, limiting, incorrect belief of loss. In divine support of true love of self, you're being inspired to be willing to not dwell within the pain of the past but to release the long-held emotions that are oppressed. Emotions are like water, they're energy in motion, and if they're not honored, acknowledged, and expressed within the moment of feeling them, they then stagnate and become a supportive pool for disease within the heart, mind, and body. There is nobody denying you true love, aside from you. Nobody is withholding the connection you deserve, aside from you. Be yourself and trust your feelings, as they're navigating you to what's right for you, so you are doing not compromise yourself for the false love and a spotlight of another. Your emotions are a present, they're the messengers within to assist us to become conscious of what we are brooding about ourself or the other situation for that matter. If we feel bad, we are having some fearful, limited thoughts. If we feel good, we are having an expanded, loving thought. Don't hide behind a smile, for if the emotions behind it are disingenuous, it's not okay to be grinning all the time. Emotions must be expressed, they need to tend permission to be released during a healthy manner, no matter whether or not they are good feelings or but desirable feelings. You are doing this with integrity by honoring the sensation whatever it's within the moment you are feeling it. To dwell in them or project the responsibility of the sensation onto a different is unhealthy, as either result in more of an equivalent vicious circle of stuffing the emotion then drawing experience to you that the emotion features a pathway to freedom. This is the unconscious way and inevitably results in more pain and frustration, more rejection and abandonment, as emotions also grow if they're contained. They become explosive like bombs because they're being resisted, and what you resist will indeed persist, and soon you explode in someone's face, otherwise you explode everywhere yourself. Then the entire nasty business of believing you're undeserving of affection begins again. All of your life you've been trying to prove your worth by getting somebody else to be your true love. There's nothing to prove because you already truly love your seeking. This is able to be humorous if it wasn't so sad, and in time you'll learn to also laugh about it. The soul of you holds the mastery of the upper mind and lives within the presence of its own true love. It's no got to prove anything. It's the ego that demands acknowledgement. So in attempting to prove what already is understood may be a bit like banging your head against the wall and wondering why you're bleeding. The union of the inner God, goddess is that the truly loving relationship you. They shall be joined together, yet they have your cooperation to return within for your love instead of continually seeking it outside of yourself from another. Albeit you ignore their desire, they continuously send you unconditionally loving messages. Yet the ego of you'd preferably be right in its incorrect belief of being the lesser child of God, goddess, and thus not deserving of affection. Your ego will crucify you with its rightful indignations instead of being happy within the truth of being the magnificent child of God, Goddess. It might rather project blame onto another than take responsibility in its fearful unwillingness to simply accept the reality and heal. It remains far too busy chasing after some man or woman refusing to be calm and hear truth love that resides within. If you would like true love, then you focus all of your energy on the strength and courage to honor, respect and love self. Once we take the action to try to do this, all others treat us with an equivalent love, honor, respect, and support. It is often no other way, as nobody can help but give to you what you're already giving to yourself. It works the other also. If you give little or nothing to self, then no others can give to you what you're unwilling to offer to self. Look at the important beauty here, look beyond the physical into the eyes of true love. Gaze within the eyes of the soul and know your true love. This may restore your spirit and reawaken your passion. Your true love will compassionately hear the victim of you, allowing it to be heard and also to shed its long-held tears or anger. This is when you got to search for love outside of yourself can end, because the victim has been heard and it'll cease its tight control over your life with its relentless insatiable needs because it will not fear to give and or receiving love. It knows beyond the shadow of a doubt its true love. The victim is given its voice during a healthy, safe, loving environment where it's ready to express all that it feels. The victim then becomes victorious, it wins, and its life is crammed with wows instead of being dogged by the woes. In the victory of selecting your value and price, your aura is going to be crowned with the sweetness, love, and light weight of true love of self for all to ascertain. You'll know through the encounters with others, who or what each of them is to you, and you'll engage with them within the highest love, honor, and respect of true love of them also. Surround yourself in self-loving images, dress yourself up in self-loving apparatus, and still check out the mirror directly into the eyes, the windows of the soul, and you'll see your true love. And once you are willing to ascertain this clearly and live it each and each moment, that other, if you continue to desire him or her, whom also knows and is practicing true love, can stand with you and for you as an equal life partner. You will sleep in a relationship where there's no blame, no control, or the other sort of abuse. You'll enter heaven on earth hand in hand, crazy with self, thereby having quite enough like to share with another. Your heart is going to be ablaze with the eagerness for all times, as against an endless look for love. You'll fully know the worth of yourself and therefore the gift your passion for all times radiating out from true love of self will literally illuminate the planet, and through this instance many others will return home to the true love of self. Who wouldn't want to be around and with such an individual? Come join those already shining within the light of true love, as all lovers on the brilliant side of the street. How blessed is that? In light amorously from heaven on earth.
Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe now.